Welcome to the world of plastic surgery madness.
I've recently had my nose made bigger.
Chin implant.
My tongue has been bifurcated like that of a snake.
10 surgeries in a day.
I think I'm gonna have a big party when I hit my 50th surgery.
Oh.
Some have gone further than others. More greatest plastic surgery shockers counts down the most extreme of all.
Oh, let me kiss his lips.
Why would anybody want to look like a cat?
How old is she, like 200, 300?
Come with us as we take an hour-long journey into a silicone-filled, Botox-injected,
I had my nose done at 15.
I'm sure that's not normal, is it?
plastic fantastic world. Full of eye-watering, gobsmacking, and heart-wrenching stories.
God, I miss her so much.
I felt suicidal.
Plastic surgeons to the stars reveal more celebrity surgery secrets.
There are three very distinctive changes on present-day Megan Fox.
By having regular, smaller treatments, she feels that, that way I'm going to sort of keep age at bay.
And we explore the transforming faces of our excessive surgery stalwarts.
I think that's just so weird.
As we count down to another most shocking surgery victim of all time.
What the hell was she thinking?
Oh,
Where better to start than La La Land? Some women aren't that keen on Hollywood hottie Megan Fox, but I don't see what it is about her perfect features, showbiz lifestyle, and millions in the bank that they don't like.
Megan Fox is a hot star.
She is a fox.
She's fit.
Sexiest woman in the world.
The girl is hot.
Megan Fox came into Hollywood, fresh-faced, girl next door type of actress.
When you see Megan Fox on the big screen, her eyes just literally go through you.
I do believe that Megan Fox is the poster child for the age zero thing, which is a lot of young people having lots of work done when they don't really need it.
There's so much competition going on in Hollywood that all these young actresses are just fighting for the limelight, and they think the only way they can achieve that is by going under the knife.
She totally has transformed her look. Now, whether it's due to plastic surgery or it's due to a really big bra and some makeup tricks, who knows?
She never talked about the fact that she's had any surgery. She would never admit it.
There are three very distinctive changes on present-day Megan Fox than her earlier years. It appears that her bust is a little bit more enlarged. Looking at her, that her lips tend to be a little bit fuller. And last but not least, her nose shape is quite different.
Unfortunately, you can't stay looking 25 when you're 40. It's not genetically possible.
Megan Fox has already been pigeonholed as this sexy actress. So she's probably gonna do everything in her power to look a certain way in order to book those roles. If she starts slipping up and she doesn't maintain her sexy girl image, who knows? She might not get booked for that next role.
At 24, it's sugar babe Mutia, who spent a fortune on getting a fat ass. She could have got an even bigger one and saved a lot of money if she'd just stayed home and eaten pies.
Mutia, not the best one out of the lot. Not horrible, fine. Nothing wrong with her, but not the best one.
The bum implants.
Mutia got the bum done. To be honest, I looked at the face and I didn't really want to look at the bum afterwards, so maybe if that's better now, look at that.
What the hell was she thinking?
It's like the whole J-Lo's to blame for the bum implants, really.
I thought big was bad, small was good.
I'm not really sure that Mucha is going to spark a rise in bum implants. I don't think there's going to be a great deal of people following her, but you never know.
Next up, it's Cher, who can almost get away with dressing like a slapper. The only thing spoiling the sexy look is her mobility scooter.
Cher.
Cher. Love Cher.
Cher.
I wanna be Cher.
It's not fair.
Cher's surgery is so obvious that she couldn't not admit to it.
Maybe the plastic surgery made Cher seem like an idiot.
Do you believe?
Believe, whatever it is. Don't know the words. What happened there? Do you know what I mean? It's not a face, it's a voice.
Cher had the beautiful body, Cher had the beautiful hair, but Cher always had a big nose and bad teeth.
She was one of the first female pop stars to really have a lot of surgery done.
Even before her nose and her cheeks and her lips and like everything that she has done, she was still a beautiful woman.
She has the body of a 30-year-old, so it's just amazing what she's done.
Cher is an ambassador for surgery. I'd get surgery if I could look a bit more like Cher.
Who'd have thought that our next entry would be Tara Reid? This Hollywood ex-starlet has the stomach of a 16-year-old. A 16-year-old rice pudding.
Tara Reid originally popped on our screens in American Pie.
She was pretty fit in that. I think everyone sort of fancied, because I was at school when it came out, everyone fancied her.
But in recent years, she's also become known for all of her botched plastic surgeries. There were pictures of her taken in a bikini that were absolutely shocking.
Looked like the surface of the moon, her stomach. This strange belly button that was sagging with like these craters and stuff.
Liposuction to me is one of the most unsuccessful procedures. It's a very sad picture because I think this could have been avoided.
If it's not the belly, it's the weird breasts.
She was at P. Diddy's 35th birthday and her dress slipped off of her shoulder. Seeing the scar of your plastic surgery, I mean, that takes it to a whole nother level. She really couldn't deny the fact that she had had plastic surgery. Everyone was talking about it.
They're so shiny, you never want to see yourself in a breast.
Popping up at 21 in our countdown, it's Britain's favourite publicity-shy glamour model, Jodie Marsh.
Jodie Marsh, when she first came onto the scene, was very kind of famously natural in terms of her boobs. That's why she fought with Jordan, because she said, my boobs are natural, yours aren't. I deserve to be, you know, be more of a glamour model than you do.
Jodie Marsh and Jordan had a ridiculous rivalry, which was obviously just done for tabloid space, where it was, oh, I've got better boobs because they're real. Oh, I've got better boobs because they're fake. I don't care.
Jordan started, you know, criticising me for saying my boobs were saggy and this, that and the other, and just being generally nasty. So I thought, well, my best comeback to that is to say, all right, love, but at least mine are natural.
I think when people think of Jodie Marsh, they immediately think of breasts. But for me, when I look at Jodie Marsh, I see a beautiful girl who's kind of destroyed her face with a nose job.
I had my first bit of plastic surgery at the age of 15. I hated my nose. I was bullied horrendously at school for it.
Which is a shame, because a lot of these people who have loads of plastic surgery probably got bullied and quite insecure.
After I'd had my nose done, the bullying just got worse and worse. I used to then get called Michael Jackson and plastic face.
But she seems to have taken the criticism on the nose. So after Jodie had really publicly gone on about how natural her boobs were, a couple of years ago, she obviously decided they were sagging a little bit and they needed a bit of work, so she herself then went down the plastic surgery route.
It wasn't something I took lightly at all. It was, you know, I waited a very long time to have them done. I mean, I had my nose done at 15, and not till 29 did I have more surgery. And of course, the lads mags don't care if you're natural or silicone or what. They don't care. They just want to see boobs.
So you want more plastic surgery, shockers? Well, you won't be disappointed. All this is still to come.
Angela Bismarcky wanted her virginity restored.
She actually looks more like Kylie than Kylie does herself.
Here's an advert as to why I'm not going to get peg implants.
Back to our chart and into the top 20. And you just don't know where you are with our next victim. It's the original lollipop lady. It's Victoria Beckham.
So when we first meet Victoria Beckham, she's a stick-thin little girl. The fattest thing about her is her bottom lip.
She was fit. I think she's probably the best one, Victoria Beckham, in Spice Girls.
There were no boobs I can remember. I don't remember being knocked out. In 1999, suddenly these boobs appeared. Boom! And then a couple of years later, boom, boom, they got even bigger. It was like a weird game of Grandma's Footsteps.
They change a lot, and she's denied having it done. Maybe she hasn't, but it seems weird that they're massive one day and they're small the next.
It was, I know, like being in a weird hall of mirrors. Where are they going to be today? Big, small? I can't keep up. What's she doing this week?
How does that work? I mean, I don't have breasts, so I wouldn't know firsthand, but I'm sure that's not normal, is it?
Next up, it's Queen Cougar Demi Moore, who's 17 years older than hubby Ashton Kutcher. At least most of her is. Her boobs have just turned 6.
Demi Moore in the sort of late 80s, early 90s with this absolute Hollywood sex symbol, fresh-faced, appearing in all sorts of blockbuster movies. Any man in their right mind would say a big yes to Demi.
Was she in any other films? G.I. Jane?
And then she kind of disappeared for a bit, and then she came back with like Charlie's Angels and stuff.
Well, I think when Demi Moore appeared in Charlie's Angels, there was a lot of pressure on her and a lot of attention. She hadn't been in a movie for a little while. She'd been in it through a divorce, and I think she was like 40 or 41 years old.
You can't have her running down the beach, this beautiful cougar,
She's
with
a
this
puma.
cellulite, you know, flopping about.
She then went, right, gym for 3 months, the best diet.
There were many stories that Demi Moore had about $200,000 worth of plastic surgery done in preparation for her role in Charlie's Angels. There were a lot of reports at that time she'd had a complete body overhaul.
It would have to be because of Charlie's Angels. It all points to that. The big scene running down the beach.
She was running along the beach. She was as taut as a newly inflated beach ball. It was ridiculous.
Well, she just looks a little bit shinier than she did 10 years ago.
If all it takes is to change your body completely and you get a fit husband like Ashton Kutcher, sign me up for a free gym pass because I am there.
There's no point criticising our next entry. It's like water off a duck's face. It's Dannii Minogue.
I remember Dannii Minogue, you know, when I was a little girl dancing around my bedroom, you know, and I remember finding out that she was Kylie's sister and thinking, really?
Kylie was on Neighbours, Dannii was on Home and Away. Kylie had a hugely successful pop career, Dannii didn't.
Her fame would never reach anywhere near the heights of Kylie's popularity.
To me, they were two very different people, but over the years, with all the work that, you know, she's had done, they just seem to be like almost morphing into each other.
She actually looks more like Kylie than Kylie does herself.
I think that she's probably taken the attitude, you know, I want to maintain my looks. I don't want to wait till my lines start to appear. So by having regular, smaller treatments, then I think that she feels that, you know, that way I'm going to sort of keep age at bay.
When you look back and think, how did she get the gig on X Factor? It's quite strange because you would never have expected Dannii Minogue to get that gig. You would have expected Kylie to. In the first couple of series of X Factor, Dannii Minogue got a lot of stick for the fact that her face hardly moved.
I think since Danny's became a mum, the Botox has eased off because she hasn't had enough time to get down to the doctor. And she's got a bit of expression this series, which I think is just fab. I think she just needs to let herself age gracefully now because she's beautiful.
She's called Madonna, she's dated Jesus, and her daughter's named after a Catholic shrine. It can't be plastic surgery. It's a miracle.
I think Madonna looks amazing. Of course, she looks different than she did in her 20s.
My God, she looks unbelievable for her age. She won't opt up to anything that she's had anything. So who knows?
If she had procedures, which I would imagine she had, they are done so extremely well. She actually has been famed for the heart-shaped face, which, in fairness, she didn't have 25 years ago. In this picture, the face is almost square, which it isn't now. It's now resembling a heart shape much more than before. And that's something which we associate with an attractive, younger-looking face. It could be possible that somewhere along the line, somebody done a bit of Botox there, but it's done so extremely well.
I think Madonna's still trying to stay young and have that sex appeal and appeal to a younger audience, but it just looks like a mum trying too hard. It's all relative, isn't it? Someone could look good for 80, but you're not going there. Do you know what I mean?
At 16, it's a match made in heaven. A plastic surgery addict weds a plastic surgeon. The possibilities are endless.
In Brazil, there is a model and samba dancer called Angela Bismarchi. She's actually trying to break the Guinness Book of Records for plastic surgery. She first came to worldwide attention for performing in the carnival in Brazil as a samba queen wearing nothing but body paint. And she is currently attracting a great deal of attention for having her hymen restored for her wedding night to her second plastic surgeon husband.
Oh.
It's a bit nuts.
Angela Bismarcky wanted her virginity restored. That's a pretty horrific thing first time round. I don't know if I want round two. Do you know what I mean? Even older, with knowledge. I don't know why she's doing it. She's probably insecure. They all are, aren't they? It's a bit sad, really, but good entertainment for us, isn't it? There's always got to be someone to laugh at.
Still to come as we move ever closer to crowning the greatest plastic surgery shocker of all time.
Take your mask off, Jocelyn. You can't, it's your face.
Not my cup of tea.
I felt him snip my eye.
You can look again now. And at number 15, she had the time of her life. Who wouldn't? Lovely Patrick Swayze. And then it all went wrong for Jennifer Grey.
Jennifer Grey got work done, the Dirty Dancing woman, and then she looked better for it, and then no one's heard of her since.
Jennifer wanted to make herself more beautiful and believed that by getting a nose job, she would get more work and she would be more widely accepted as a leading lady.
She went on from Dirty Dancing and just kind of disappeared off the screens for years and years.
Jennifer Grey's disappearing act, unintentional, was so effective that when she guest starred post-surgery on an episode of Friends, people thought she was just an extra.
I think I had to actually go on the computer and check that that was the same Jennifer Grey who played Baby in Dirty Dancing. Nobody really knew who she was anymore.
Can she have a face change back? Is that allowed?
Next up, it's the bloke who road tested Michael Jackson's facial surgery. Is he mad?
I was very good looking when I was young.
He's got a fit body. I would sleep with him if he didn't have a head.
Steve Earhart was doing hair for the stars, and all of his clients would sit in his chair, and they'd look so beautiful because they'd get a little bit of work done. He decided to go under the knife, and the rest is history.
In the beginning, I consulted with Dr. Hoffman, which was Michael Jackson's surgeon, and I just wanted a rhinoplasty. So Dr. Hoffman introduced me to Michael, and Michael ended up paying for my surgery as an experiment for his own.
When someone approaches you to be a guinea pig for someone's chin, what makes you say yes? You must be addicted to surgery, or pain, or looking like an idiot, or all three.
In the first round of surgeries, I did a rhinoplasty, a chin implant, a cleft, a little liposuction under here, and it's called buccal fat removal under the cheekbones.
Steve has taken it beyond just the facial reconstruction. He has done everything to his body as well, getting implants to look more toned.
It was exactly what I wanted. And he started to create the first pectoral implants.
Here's an advert as to why I'm not going to get pec implants and I'm going to go back to the gym.
The first time I saw him, he had maybe had 30 plastic surgeries. Well, I think now he's close to 50.
I think I'm gonna have a big party when I hit my 50th surgery. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna have, but I'll figure it out.
At number 13, it's the Baywatch star with the biggest boobs. Yes, it's David Hasselhoff. Just kidding. It's Pammy.
Dudum, dudum, dudum. I don't even think people knew what cleavages were before Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson was definitely perceived as, you know, the ultimate perfect 10.
Whoever gave her plastic surgery, I think every man in the country wants to give him a tenner to say thank you.
The tan, she had tan, me love a tan.
The whole world found Pamela Anderson tremendously hot.
And I did actually go out and buy a red swimming costume at one point. Pamela Anderson was just the biggest role model for me ever. Like, I grew up on Baywatch, and her just looking incredible.
This mattered. What happens in politics does not matter. However, when Pamela Anderson runs down that beach, dressed as a lifeguard, that matters in life.
We all wanted to have a boob job. I think Pamela Anderson was the first woman I was ever aware of that had these kind of in-your-face, like, football boobs.
She's had them in, she took them out. She's had them in, she took them out. They were big, they were kind of small, then they were really big.
I'm happy to say that I was her stand-in.
Out of the whole group of women that showed up to do that, I was the chosen one. So it's kind of an honor. I got to meet her, and she's really sweet.
Some people would do anything for a laugh, but when it comes to his appearance, our next entry denies there's anything funny going on.
There's a comedian here in Las Vegas called Carrot Top. His gimmick is he was a very skinny man and he had this curly red hair.
You can't help but notice his bright carrot top, hence his name. Bright red, crazy hair has always been his signature look.
Picture a male version of Little Orphan Annie.
The thing is that when he first started out, his face was fine. It's not like he had anything that wrong with him or needed changing. But now he looks like a woman.
If Carrot Top is denying that he's had some work done, I have to disagree. He's got crazy, like, high-arched brows. I mean, there is not a wrinkle on Carrot Top's face.
You know what? I would like to put the man in drag. He could be in my show. He has such refined features right now.
If he hasn't any work done, his face is proper weird and he's going to see a doctor.
In addition to his new facial look, he has a totally different body now. Maybe he's hitting the gym 24/7. Maybe he's not.
The man went from scrawny to Superman overnight.
I mean, his muscles are...
I've never heard Carrot Top talk about plastic surgery, but it's pretty damn obvious. The combination really doesn't work, so I hope he would stop at this point, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
At 11, it's French performance artiste Orlan. She looks like a work of art. More art attack than grandmaster.
Orlan is a French artist. She was perhaps among the first artists to dedicate her body to her art.
She's done some pretty bizarre things as an art statement.
She is an artist.
She decided to have different elements of her face transformed through plastic surgery to represent famous paintings or famous sculpture. The forehead of Leonardo da Vinci's Mona Lisa, or the lips of Europa, which is a famous painting by François Boucher, or the chin of Botticelli's Venice. She often talked about herself as being the bride of Frankenstein.
Some people are sculptors and they use clay, and other people are sculptors and they use their body.
She says it's art. Others would perhaps tell her to go and see a psychoanalyst.
Think she's got horny things fitted here?
Not my cup of tea.
It's to show that basically in our age of technology, you can do everything to your body.
Not what I want to do. Why hang a picture on a wall? Why not wear it on your head?
They're getting freakier and freakier as we edge closer to that top spot. You don't want to miss this lot.
They're like boulders. They were like boulders.
10 surgeries in a day.
But it did explode. Yellow pus cups of it discharging from my face.
Ugh, I can't wait. We're only 10 away from revealing our number one. Slithering in at 10, it's the guy they call the Lizard Man. Because that crazy guy who tattooed his entire body green and mutilated his own tongue just isn't catchy enough.
My name is Eric Sprague. I'm known professionally as the Lizard Man.
Lizard Man obviously has had a little bit of work done.
He's actually split his tongue, so like a lizard.
Oh, what a great thing to want to look like a lizard.
What on earth would make someone want to do that to themselves? I understand you want to be unique, you want to stand out from the crowd. Go buy some new shoes.
I like the look. I mean, if anything, maybe I think I saw my first Godzilla movie when I was 11 or 12, and I really liked that, so.
I remember the first time I saw him, I was just shocked. I couldn't believe it.
The different things I've had done to my body, I think the most obvious and sort of at the beginning is the tattooing.
70% of his body is reportedly covered in tattoos, and he has spent more than 700 hours getting tattoos done to his body. I mean, if that's not dedication, I don't know what is.
My tongue has been bifurcated, split into like that of a snake.
It's great for catching flies.
I've never tried to catch a fly. I can hold things between my tongues.
I think that's just so weird.
For about the last decade and a half, I've primarily worked in sideshow and variety entertainment. I do things like sword swallowing, fire eating, straitjacket escapes.
I want to know how he will be feeling about it all when he's 80 years old.
I will never say that I'm absolutely done because I don't know what the future will hold.
Next up, it's the transsexual it girl who looks like a Barbie doll. A Barbie doll that's been left overnight on a radiator, that is.
Amanda Lepore is a transgender model. She's a really good example of how plastic surgery can seriously transform someone. I mean, she went from a man to a woman.
Apparently, there's actually no pictures of her ever as a boy. The only pictures there are of her living her life as a woman. She's got rid of her old life, and she is Amanda.
Amanda, right up here, please. Amanda, right here, please.
She's beautiful. Very, very, very over the top.
She's a party goer. She's like the Paris Hilton of the transgender world.
A great photographic subject, but still looks no different than the average transsexual on a beach in Brazil.
She said the look that she was going for was a cross between Jessica Rabbit and Marilyn Monroe, and she was really happy because she felt she had achieved it. She owns every last surgery that she's had. She owns it. And now she is totally 100% Amanda Lepore.
In at 8, it's Heidi Montag, who had 10 procedures in one day. Boob job, tummy tuck, rhinoplasty, cheek implants, and a lobotomy.
10 surgeries in a day. That's the kind of hellraiser I am.
Everyone in the world was talking about Heidi Montag and her plastic surgery.
Heidi Montag is this kind of American, sort of early 20s, very beautiful, or it used to be, star of The Hills. Now she looks a bit more like The Hills Have Eyes.
She's a 23-year-old girl that looks like she's a 45-year-old soccer mum who's had a lot of Botox and really and truly doesn't need it.
Heidi definitely knew the value in more surgery equals more exposure. So she wasn't stupid. Well, she was stupid having 10 surgeries in one day.
I mean, that's like a busy surgery. I mean, bearing in mind to say each surgeon charges $2-3 grand, and that's $30,000 you spent in one day. Buy yourself a Prius, save a dolphin.
Heidi Montag was hosting this big Vegas pool party, and that was kind of like the reveal of her new look.
She obviously just derobed, and there she was in all her boob glory in this kind of bling bikini, just looking very pleased with herself. Well, actually, she didn't look pleased with herself because she couldn't move her face. It's quite scary to think about what's going to become of Heidi in 10 or 20 years' time.
She'll then have more surgeries to correct the next surgery that she's then unhappy with. Such will be the cycle until she reaches about 40, when one day she goes out in the sun and melts on the pavement like a piece of bubblegum.
Up next, it's actress Leslie Ash, who once had one of the most sought-after faces on TV, and she still has. Only now it's for shock docs on plastic surgery cock-ups.
When you think of Leslie Ash, you just think of a big, giant fish, a muppet mouth.
The original trout pout.
I think that Leslie Ash caused to lips what, say, Michael Jackson caused to noses.
Everyone knew her from Men Behaving Badly, thought she was amazing in that, you know, had a cult following. She was this kind of really cute, pretty actress. Suddenly, we turned on the telly, and there she is in Merseybeat. You could hear the sound of people dropping their knives and forks while they're eating their dinner, because it's just like a face like you've never seen before. It just looks so unusual.
She looks like an extra off Planet of the Apes, and it's a sad thing, Leslie.
It turns out what had happened to her lips is that she'd had a lip job by her friend's mum, who was a plastic surgeon from Venezuela. The friend's mum came and did the procedure at her house,
I would be getting slightly worried when there's none of the usual precautions like a surgery or people who know what they're doing. And anyway, she had an injection into her lips.
Her practitioner was experimenting with some new types of fillers, which obviously led to a reaction.
Her face is just deformed. It's never going to look like it used to.
I don't think it's fair that Trout should be grouped in that bracket, you know? I mean, what have they ever done?
She is stuck with these lips. Liquid silicone was injected into her lips. It's stuck to the muscles of her lips. There's nothing that can be done. I mean, it's just car crash treatment, absolute car crash treatment.
At 6, it's Lola Ferrari. Her gargantuan breasts were rumoured to be a size 54G. Jesus.
Hello, my British champs. I am Lola Ferrari.
I think there's always something fascinating about huge boobs. I'm fascinated by huge boobs. Everyone loves huge boobs.
They're like boulders. They were like boulders.
They were the most pendulous orbs that I've ever seen and worshipped.
Right.
I mean, for me, it was Eurotrash with Lolo Ferrari.
Hello, boobies!
You know, Lolo Ferrari just come on with a stupidly small bikini, which, you know, made Pamela Anderson look covered up.
They were unhuman and inhuman.
At the age of 18, she started modeling a little, and she met her future mentor, who would become her husband.
He drew the plans for the final pair, and supposedly had a friend who was designed molds for the aeronautical industry, who designed the silicone implants.
You know, poor girl, she must have suffered agony.
He was given a suspended prison sentence in 1995 for pimping her to other men.
I guess she was not very much in control of her own life, that's for sure. She must have been very dependent on this mentor figure who was also her husband and manager. Perhaps that's what, you know, killed her in the end.
It was such a shame to mankind, specifically the man of mankind, when she sadly passed under the weight of her own, I don't know, expectation, shall we say.
Well, he found her dead on the 5th of March 2000. She was 37.
There was questions about his role in her death, but in the end, it was considered innocent, and she suffocated, and perhaps actually her breasts are responsible for her death.
Things are hotting up now. It's the big guns in our top 5 more greatest plastic surgery shockers. But who will be number 1?
She's old and ugly.
I don't think she looks like a cat at all.
Oh.
This is the moment you've been waiting for. We've reached the top 5. Brace yourself. At number 5, there's something funny about Joan Rivers. Her face.
Red carpet, cheekbones.
How old is she, like 200, 300?
Old.
She's a woman in her 70s with a 50-year career behind her.
She's better known for her plastic surgery, which is often more amusing than her stand-up act.
My name is Frank Marino. I am the longest-running headliner in Las Vegas. I have a show called Divas. I impersonate Joan Rivers in my show. When we first opened, we had Marilyn Monroe and Julie Andrews. Joan Rivers, being the queen of everything, is the one character that lasted the entire test of time, from when we opened till now. So her star power is amazing.
Because she's not afraid to talk about anything. She will slag you off if you are old. She will slag you off if you are ugly. And she is old and ugly.
This is a woman that I was afraid years ago that was going to stop. But I'm here to tell you, when the world ends, it's going to be Cher, Joan Rivers, and the cockroaches.
At 4, it's Hollywood real estate agent Elaine Young. Her face is a delightful ruin with huge potential for improvement.
Elaine Young was a lovely lady. She was the first person to really do great amounts of plastic surgery.
She's a big, high-powered Beverly Hills real estate lady, and she had the surgery look better and better and better. She took it to such a level that she ended up dying.
She was hanging out with people like Frank Sinatra, Smokey Robinson.
Hollywood's obsessed with looks. It's a very unhealthy place, Hollywood.
From the 1970s, she also, like many Hollywood stars, sought to have cosmetic surgery to improve her looks.
My mother started to have silicone injections in the cheek in the 70s.
When you get silicone to the extent she's gotten silicone, that's another problem. Silicone is not legal. Silicone can travel.
Her cheekbones started swelling so gradually, but so huge, and she ended up getting gangrene in her face, and it started to wrap around her brain.
The thing that people don't know about silicone, it grows, it doubles in size over 5 or 10 years. Elaine was very allergic to it.
It was an emergency situation. She went into the hospital. They decided that they were gonna have to remove her face so they could chip away at the silicone, because the silicone, which this doctor did not know, hardens like a rock. They saved her life, but she was paralyzed for a very long time. It was very difficult.
Silicone, the wonder solution that gave you instant cheeks, instant lips, and then 3 years down the line, it melted down your face.
Let's see, what followed was up to about 51 plastic surgeries. The silicone started to travel again.
It was a horror story that was to haunt her entire life until she passed away in 2007.
God, I miss her so much. I really, really miss her.
We're into the top 3, and at 3, it's the Bride of Wildenstein. After nearly 100 operations, doctors are hoping that it might soon be time to release her back into the wild.
Catwoman, is that as bad as Jessica?
Take your mask off, Jocelyn. You can't, it's your face.
I don't think she looks like a cat at all.
Jocelyn Wildenstein is a New York socialite whose husband was having an affair with a gorgeous fashion model.
It's known that he liked exotic animals. I think she thought the more exotic she looked, i.e. like a cat, that her husband would stay with her.
You don't need to carve your face up to look like a cat because you married a dick.
Women should not kowtow to what men want them to be, want them to look like. She really thought her husband wanted her to look like a giant lion.
Why would anybody want to look like a cat? I mean, just the bathroom ritual alone to dig all that sand just ruins your day.
I think she's happy with it. So for her, personally, I think she's done the right thing.
Let that be a lesson. She's a freak show now.
It's number 2, and just beaten to that number 1 spot, the man who's devoted his life to surgery. It's the one and only Pete Burns, or to give him his full name, Pete Burns Unit.
Pete Burns is obviously a very, very troubled man, woman, thing.
Oh, let me kiss his lips.
Those lips, they're tragic.
Whoa.
His lips are just like the biggest sausages you've ever seen.
Pete Burns was famous for being in Dead or Alive around kind of 1985. Even then, he'd actually had a nose job and he used to wear an eye patch. And he says he wore the eye patch to kind of hide the fact that he'd had a bit of a botched nose job. In around 2000 was when he started this massive plastic surgery procedure.
What I was looking to achieve before I went in for my operation was to look like one of my childhood sketches.
What can you even say to that? Don't doodle? Perhaps? I don't know. What a lunatic.
Pete Burns is probably like a doodle if you'd taken 7 or 8 drops of acid and drank sambucas all night.
It emerged in 2006 that he'd had this massive battle to correct a botched lip job that had been done a couple of years before.
He'd had some kind of filler injected into it and he'd had like a really bad reaction.
My lips were getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and I was just so unhappy with them. I couldn't stand the look on my face, and then my cheeks swelled, and then my neck swelled. And it did explode. Yellow pus cups of it discharging from my face.
Oh, I mean, that would put me off getting my lips done, no end.
When you're faced with a complication with this is, this is disastrous. It's terrible. You can't sort of put a little bit of makeup on this and cover it up.
Suicidal. I felt suicidal. I was deformed. I couldn't leave the house for 7 months. I had a nervous breakdown. I was so depressed. I was on antidepressants. I went to see literally every top Harley Street surgeon that there was, and they recommended lip amputation. Luckily, I found a cosmetic surgeon based in Italy, and he reconstructed lips for me, got rid of all the scars. 2 years of operations it was,
And then it was in 2007 that he ended up winning his legal battle and won like £450,000 or something like that, which he probably then spent on more surgery because he's continued down the surgery route ever since.
I'm gonna slightly slant my eyes and probably have some liposuction on my stomach.
Outside, he's just made a mess of himself, but for some people, I suppose, they're trying to get an image that suits what they are inside, and for him, it's kind of plasticine-y. He's become this kind of figurehead as to all that is weird and crazy and slightly disturbing about plastic surgery.
It's still in process. I've recently had my nose made bigger, tattooed permanent makeup on, permanent eyebrows and eyeliner. I'm perfectly happy with the way I look.
Well, this is it. The big #1 at last. I bet you thought it couldn't get any worse than Pete Burns' exploding lips. Well, it can. Meet Shanice Farrell, who chose to have her eye colour changed in Panama, which is a bit like having a boob job in Burma.
If you're fucking about with your eyes, that's not a sensible thing to do.
Well, I first thought of changing my eye colour when I was studying.
These brown eyes, they're so yesterday's news.
You looked on the internet and saw what was available.
The only page that was coming up was Panama. A website came up called New Colour Iris.
There's just something about the word Panama that doesn't make me think, oh, I know what, I'll go there for some surgery on my eyeballs.
It cost about, including my flight and everything, about £7,000. On the day, I went into, he said it was a hospital, but it seemed to me like an office building. A lot of people were in there with glasses, so I assumed it had something to do with eyes.
Gave her a consent form, but it was in Spanish. She still signed it nevertheless.
It wasn't blue that I wanted. I originally wanted brown, but when I got there, he said, I've only got grey and blue. So I thought, let me just go for blue.
You can get contact lenses for that kind of shit.
He started to do the operation by clamping my eyelids open. I felt him snip my eye and lift the first layer of my eye up. All I could do was scream out that it was so painful, and he was telling me, it's not that bad, stop making so much noise.
So basically, this woman flew to Panama to be tortured at her own convenience.
I couldn't really see much. It was just looking under a pool of water.
Afterwards, she said her vision was always blurry and never quite seeing clearly.
I told him I was in a lot of pain. I asked him for some paracetamol. He gave me one.
A free paracetamol. That's not to be sniffed at.
A few days later, I was laying down at home. The daytime light was very bright and it was giving me a headache. So I decided to call NHS. They referred me to a doctor, Mr. Ali.
Looking at her eyes, she had swelling of the front window of her eyes, she had inflammation, she had raised pressure in the eyes, and she was at serious risk of losing her eyesight.
He then looked after me and told me that there's a risk, we're going to remove it for you, but then there's still a risk that you may go blind.
You know, you go through your training, haven't seen various things and pathologies, but no, never seen anything like this.
When they took it out, it was fine. That was the first one they ever done.
She is at risk of potentially getting a cataract in the future, potentially at risk of glaucoma.
Looking back at everything that's happened, I don't want to change my colour of my eye. I'm happy with it the way it is.
Click on screen for more videos of extraordinary humans.